the news hour, coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned. Download the tuning app onto your mobile phone today and catch up on all the latest news from HitzAfrik Radio. Broadcasting live on modern Ghana and our website www.hitzafrikradio.org. HitzAfrik Radio News Hour live.
Good evening. It's exactly 19 hours GMT in the studios of HitzAfrik Radio. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at HitzAfrik Radio. You can as well log on onto our website www.hitzafrikradio.org. I'm your anchor, Abna Ahunie. Stay tuned as I bring you the news headlines. Projects to build capacity of 30,000 share collectors. MTN donates PPEs to the Ashanti region. A top Libyan military wanted by ICC shot dead. She thought I died when I fainted during sex. These are many other stories I bring your way this evening. Stay tuned as I bring you the news in details. Now to the news in details. In Ghana, project to build capacity of 30,000 share collectors launched. Global Share Alliance (GSA), a non-profit association for the share barter industry in partnership with the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, has launched a 1.15 million euro project to help build the capacity of about 30,000 women share collectors in northern Ghana through training, job creation, and investments. The two-year project, titled Improving Women Share Collectors Capacity, seeks to promote investment in the share value chain in Ghana and help improve product quality and increase direct market linkages. Public-private partnership (PPP) will also facilitate private sector investment in the share industry in Ghana and boost profitability of the sector. Launching the initiative in Tamale on Tuesday, March 23, 2020, the Savannah Regional Minister, Mr. Said Mahazu Jibril, said the project will increase investment in the 5 northern regions and also have an overall benefit on climate change and the environment. He stated further that the initiative will equip women, share collectors, and processors in adding value to the share product, which will translate into increased household income levels. He said the government has identified share and its related parklands as one of the 3 key commodities to enable it meet its climate change objectives under the Paris Agreement. Consequently, he said, the government has developed various programs to support the sector, citing the Planting for Export and the Rural Development (PERD) as one of the government's flagship programs aimed at increasing the production of certain crops for export, including share. Mr. Jibril added the PERD is to support rural development through increased production and export of selected crops, including share partners. The GIZ head of Network for Inclusive Economic Development, Mr. Gibrald Guskoki, said they were happy to partner with the GSA and the private sector to boost the capacity of women share collectors who are the backbone of the industry. He also commended GSA in its leading role living condition and encourage preservation of the share parklands in Ghana. This objective will be achieved by improving product quality, creating new and better jobs within a cooperative framework to facilitate direct sourcing as well as increase private investment in the value chain. To improve product quality, the project will improve capacity of women collectors and processors process share, facilitate access to quality equipment such as warehouses and stores, as well as improve the sustainability of share parklands to ensure continued access to share trees, he added. The managing director of GSA, Mr. Aaron Edu, said the association was contributing a counterpart funding of about 500,000 euros, while the GIZ is also providing about the same amount to fund the 2-year project that will sustain and improve the incomes of the women share collectors, secure their health, and protect the share parklands. A representative at the Dimisi Women Share Cooperative in the Northeastern region, Mrs. Comfort Bugri, thanked the initiators of the project, saying it would go a long way to improve their lot and boost their industry. Moving on to other stories, Professor Ernest Ayite appointed AERC Board Chair. The African Economic Research Consortium, AERC, has appointed the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ernest Ayite, as its new board chair. The appointment, which was announced by the AERC on its website on March 23rd, takes effect from 1st April 2021. AERC has brought rigor and evidence to economic policy making in Africa through research, training, and policy outreach. It is one of the most active research and capacity building institutions in the world with a focus on Africa. He takes over from Dr. Louise Kasikende, whose term ends on March 31st this year. Having served in the capacity of board chair since April 2017, Mr. Kasikende is the immediate former deputy governor of the Bank of Uganda and has been instrumental in spearheading the collaboration with the AERC, African Central Bank's Governance Forum, to ensure the long-term sustainability of the AERC through increased African stakeholdership. Professor Ayite is currently the Secretary General of the African Research Universities Alliance, ARUA. One of his strategic priorities as Vice Chancellor was to develop the university into a research-intensive institution that supports structural transformation in Ghana and Africa. In other stories, Senate scandal, aging to amend charge sheet against Ernest Thompson and 4 others. The Attorney General aging has decided to amend the charge sheet against former Director General of SNIT, Ernest Thompson, and 4 others who are standing trial for allegedly causing financial loss to more than $14.8 million in the SNIT Operational Business Suite OBS project. This follows a decision by the Supreme Court that charge relating to causing financial loss to the state had no sufficient particulars of offense. Director of Public Prosecution, DDP, Yvonne Atakra Obuasisa, informed the trial High Court Thursday, March 21 March, about the decision to amend the charge sheet when the case was called, financial loss to the state was insufficient only Wednesday, March 24, 2021, praying for an adjournment to enable her to amend the charge. The case was subsequently adjourned to April 22, 2021 by the court, presided over by Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, a justice of the Court of Appeal, sitting as a High Court judge. This will enable the agent to amend the charge on causing financial loss to the state and serve same on the court and counsels for the accused persons. All 5 accused persons were present when the case was called. Mr. Thompson as well as a former information technology IT manager at SNET, Mr. John Hagan Mensah, a former head of Management Information Systems MIS at SNET, Mr. Caleb Kweku Afaglo, the lawyer for SNET, Mr. Peter Ahiabo, and the Chief Executive Officer of Perfect Business Systems, PBS, Ms. Juliet Hassana Kramer, were in July 2018 charged with willfully causing financial loss to the state, conspiracy to commit crime, defrauding by false pretense, in contravention of the Public Procurement Act, and authoring of forged documents. They pledged not guilty to the charges at the High Court. However, as a result of a legal tussle between counsel for Mr. Thompson and the AG over the particulars of the offense in relation to causing financial loss, the case came to a halt at the High Court. In his bid to challenge the particulars of offense on causing financial loss, Mr. Thompson, who was one of the view that the prosecution failed to provide sufficient particulars on the offenses leveled against him, as required under the Article 19, Section 2 of the 1992 Constitution and Section 122 of the Criminal Offences Procedure Act and 1960 Act 30. Filed an application to that effect on April 19, 2019, before the trial court, but it was dismissed. Dissatisfied, Mr. Thompson appealed to the Court of Appeal on the grounds that Justice Kofi committed an error of law and also erred by dismissing his application. On April 3rd last year, a three-member panel of the Court of Appeal, in a 2-to-1 majority decision, upheld Mr. Thompson's appeal and held that, indeed, the particulars of offences on the charge sheets were not sufficient. Accordingly directed the prosecution to provide reasonable information to enable the appellant, Mr. Thompson, prepare adequately for his defense. The AG also decided to appeal the appellate court's decision at the Apex Court because it was not so satisfied with the decision of the appeal court. The Supreme Court, which has Justices Agnes M. Edozie, Avril Lovelace Johnson, Gertrude Takono, and Isifu Omoru Tanko Amaju as other members of the panel, in its ruling, upheld the Court of Appeal's decision on the grounds that there were no merit in the AG's appeal on Wednesday, March 17th this year. In June 2010, SNET initiated the $34 million OBS project to use information and communications technology ICT to revamp its operations to enable it to provide a state-of-the-art pension administration system in the country. It is the case of the prosecution that between September 2013 and September 2016, the 5 accused persons engaged in various illegality that caused financial loss to the state in relation to the said project. The contract sum, the prosecution said, has ballooned from 34 million to over 66 million, even though the OBS system failed to perform efficiently as the project contract had investigated. In other stories, increased funding for vaccine programs, West African AIDS Foundation appeals to government. The West African AIDS Foundation, WAAF, has appealed to the government to increase immunization funding in order to sustain gains made in the coverage of the 13 vaccine-preventable diseases, VDPS, since 1972. The Bono and Ahafo Regional Conductor of the non-governmental organization, Mr. Edward Ayabila, said there were no evidence that the country could not significantly cater for its own immunization costs by 2024 if the rate of financial commitment to immunization remained the same. He explained that the proportion of the country's health budget to the national budget had reduced from 8.3% in 2019 to 6.7% in 2020. The 13 VPDs are tuberculosis, poliomyelitis, pertussis, whooping cough, tetanus, diphtheria, Haemophilus influenza type B, hepatitis B, and pneumococcal diseases. Others are measles, rotavirus diarrhea, rubella, yellow fever, and Neisseria meningitis, as well as the ongoing COVID-19 and malaria vaccines, which are on pilot. Mr. Ayabila made a call at Kenyase in the Asutifi North District of the Ahafo region during the stakeholders' engagement on Immunization Advocacy Initiative, AIA, aimed at increased domestic financing for immunization. The IAI project, which is sponsored by the African Population and Health Research Centers, APHRC, is also aimed at engaging stakeholders, citizens, and policymakers to discuss issues of health and immunization budget allocations, among others. Mr. Ayabila said the cost of immunization in Ghana was rising without a corresponding increment in government funding, explaining that Ghana's enviable vaccination coverage had been riding mainly on the backs of donors and was therefore not sustainable. He said the country's projected expenditure for immunization was predicted to grow from 5.3 million in 2020 to 8.9 million in 2022 before reaching $13 million in 2024. Mr. Ayabila called on the Ministry of Finance to commit more funds towards immunization in order to make substantial savings on expenditure towards treating the. In other stories, MTN donates PPE to health institutions in Ashanti region. Mrs. Georgina Ifuasam, receiving the items from Mr. Ni Adote Mingo of MTN, mobile telecommunications company MTN Ghana, has presented personal protective equipment to 3 hospitals in the Ashanti region. The beneficiary facilities are the Ejiso Government Hospital, KNUST, and the Comfort and Nurture Teaching Hospital, all in Kumasi. Items donated included face shields, gloves, non-contact thermometers, methylated spirits, and coveralls. Speaking at separate presentation events, the general manager in charge of MTN North Businesses District, Ni Adote Mingo, said the company was committed to resourcing hospitals to stem the spread of coronavirus disease, COVID-19, through the provision of PPE. He said in all, 5 hospitals in the Ashanti region will benefit from the company's assistance program and will bring to 29 the total number of hospitals across the country to receive support from the company. The other 2 facilities in the Ashanti region to benefit from the MTN support are the Kumasi South Hospital and Fomina District Hospitals, establishments in the country out to join forces with the government in the fight against COVID-19. He said, these have been first, second, and third waves of the disease in many countries, requiring that radical action is taken to contain it. The donation, he said, was to boost the capacities of the beneficiary hospitals to deal with cases of the disease that would come to their attention. The Director of Nursing Services at CATH, Ms. Georgina Ifuasam, received the items on behalf of the hospital and expressed her appreciation to the company for the gesture. She said the donation had come at a good time and will be of good service to the hospital. Ms. Sam encouraged other institutions to also step forward and donate to the hospital and others around the country since the PPE were highly expendable. Moving on to other African countries, in Morocco. Morocco wants freed activists against undermining state apparatus. Moroccan historian and rights activist Mati Monjab, who was on hunger strike for 19 days, gestures upon his release from El Arjad prison near the capital Rabat. The Moroccan Interior Minister on Wednesday evening accused the French-Moroccan historian and activist Martin Monjab of damaging the kingdom's image on human rights, alleging he is irresponsible statements after he was released from prison. The ministry warned that the government will begin legal proceedings against Monjeb regardless of his status as an activist or dual nationalism. A statement issued by the ministry stated that Monjeb undermined state institutions by evoking bad faith that it is far from reality by faulting the political system and security apparatus of the North African country. The 60-year-old historian was arrested end of December as part of a preliminary investigation into money laundering accusations he termed as abusive of power. He was previously sentenced to 1 year in jail for fraud and undermining state security in January, and then a tedious trial that was frequently postponed since 2015. He was later released after spending 3 months in prison after he went on a 19-day hunger strike. 6 journalists and activists who were also on trial were sentenced to up to a year in prison. 3 have left Morocco and been granted political asylum in Europe. Moving on to Libya. A top Libyan military commander wanted by ICC shot dead. A senior Libyan military commander, Mohammed al-Warfali, and his cousin were shot dead Wednesday, a security source said. He and his cousin were in his car in the eastern city of Benghazi. Al-Wafarali and his cousins, whose name was not given, sustained grave injuries after the shot and died on arrival at the Benghazi Medical Center, located near the scene of the shooting. Al-Wafarali had 2 arrest warrants pending before the International Criminal Court. He was accused by the International Criminal Court of war crimes, torture, cruel treatment, crimes against humanity, and other inhuman crimes. The 43-year-old soldier was accused of, among other things, directly committing and urgent killings in 7 incidents involving 33 people from June 2016 to July 2017 in the Benghazi area, according to the ICC. Known for his summary executions of political prisoners, al-Wafarali also allegedly shot and killed 10 people in front of the Batal Rodan Mosque in Benghazi. In January 2018, the same source added, the late officer was a member of the forces loyal to Eastern Commander Marshal Khalifa Haftar, leader of the self-proclaimed Libyan National Army (LNA). This did not prevent him from being promoted by Khalifa Haftar to a lieutenant colonel in July 2019 after serving as a major. This promotion sent a clear message that Khalifa Haftar has no intention of prosecuting him, the former ICC chief prosecutor Fattah Ben Sauda lamented at the time. Al-Wafarali recently appeared in a video violently attacking the owner of a car leadership in Benghazi, sparking a heated debate in Libya. Moving on to another country in Africa is Egypt. 150 ships remain stuck as Suez Canal still blocked. A skyscraper-sized cargo ship weighed across Egypt's Suez Canal further imperiled legal shipping on Thursday as at least 150 other vessels needing to pass through the crucial waterway idled waiting for the obstruction to clear, authorities said. The Ever-Given Panama flagship that carries cargo between Asia and Europe ran aground Tuesday in the narrow, man-made canal dividing continental Africa from the Sinai Peninsula. In the time since, efforts to free the ship using degraders, digging, and the aid of high tides have to set the push the container vessel aside. Egyptian officials and others resumed work to free the vessel on Thursday morning after halting for the night. So far, draggers have tried to clear silt around the massive ship. Tugboats nudged the vessel alongside it, trying to gain momentum. From the shore, at least one backhoe dug into the canal's sandy banks, suggesting the bow of the ship had plowed into it. Canal service provider led agencies said at least 150 ships were waiting for the Ever Given to be cleared, including vessels near Port Said on the Mediterranean Sea, Port Suez on the Red Sea, and those already struck in the canal system on Egypt's Great Bitter Lake. Here lies the end of the news for the local story. Local stories is here. Stay tuned as I bring you the foreign stories.
The News Hour, coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned. Download.
You're still logged on to HitzAfrik Radio. We are transmitting live here in the studios of Ghana. www.hitzafrikradio.org. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Now let's do some foreign stories. USA Boulder shooting. Mental health hearing granted for suspect. Law enforcement officers sweep the area outside of a King Soopers grocery store, which was the site of a shooting in Boulder, Colorado. The presiding judge said Ahmad Al-Ulawi Ausa, 21, would remain held without bail as he granted a mental health hearing requested by a defense lawyer. The Syrian-born U.S. citizen is charged with 10 counts of first-degree murders. He did not enter a plea in the court. The victims of the attack on 22nd March were aged between 20 and 65. Police officer, a store manager, and shoppers killed in Boulder attack. The attack ended when police arrested the lone suspect after exchanging gunfire. The police have not confirmed a motive. The grocery store is located in a busy shopping plaza in Boulder, a north-central Colorado city about 30 miles, 50 kilometers away from the state capital, Denver. It comes less than a week after a mass shooting that left 8 dead, including 6 Asian women at 3 spas in Atlanta. Following the shooting, U.S. President Joe Biden renewed his call for a ban on assault weapons on high-capacity magazines, as well as end to loopholes in background checks. In other stories, Europe unfair vaccine distribution could damage EU-Australian leader. Australia's Chancellor is warning the European Union will be seriously damaged if vaccines are not distributed fairly among member states. Sebastian Kurz has made the comments shortly after a virtual EU summit to discuss vaccine supplies and improving distribution across the 27 nations. Kurz has joined forces with counterparts from 5 Eastern European nations to fix what they say is an uneven distribution. Despite the EU agreeing to administer doses based on population, Kurz says that has been undermined by deals between the board negotiating on behalf of EU states and drug companies. If no solution is found here, it could cause damage to the European Union, the likes of which we have not seen in a long time. Kurz tells a news conference. However, Kurz's opponents have accused him of attempting to detract attention from his failure to purchase enough doses. In other stories, in China, Nike, H&M face China over Xinjiang cotton concerns. Retail giants like and NHD are faced a backlash in China after they expressed concern about the alleged use of forced Uyghur labor in the production of Xinjiang cotton. Many Chinese have called for boycotts. Celebrities have cut ties, and e-commerce platforms have dropped H&M. It comes as several Western countries imposed sanctions on China this week. It is accused of committing serious human rights violations against the Uyghur Muslim minority in Xinjiang. The sanctions, including travel bans and asset freezes, target senior officials in the Northwest region. In December, the BBC published in an investigation based on new research showing China was forcing hundreds of thousands of minorities, including Uyghurs, into manual labor in Xinjiang's cotton fields. The statements in question were made by the companies last year, but only surfaced in recent days following the announcement of Western sanctions. Both companies have said in separate statements that they were concerned about reports that Uyghurs were being forced to pick cotton in Xinjiang, and that they did not source products from the region. But the latest furore appears to have been sparked by a recent social media post in Communist Youth League, a Chinese Communist Party group, spreading rumors to boycott Xinjiang cotton while also wanting to make money in China. Wishful thinking. It is said in a microblogging platform Weibo on Wednesday morning as it shared screenshots of H&M statements. China likes to use its trading minds and retail rationalism to pressure governments and multinationals, both at the same time preferably, to keep them quiet about its abuses. The timing of this sudden grassroots reaction, led by celebrities who've been happy to take H&D money in exchange for endorsements, is down to a wave of coordinated sanctions imposed by the UK, US, and EU in the last few days, endorsed by Sweden, among others. Here lies the end of the foreign story. Stay tuned as I fetch you the entertainment news.
The news hour coming to you live from the studios of HitzAfrik Radio and TV. Stay tuned. Download the tune.
You're still logged on to HitzAfrik Radio. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at HitzAfrik Radio. Don't forget to comment with whatever that you want to tell us. Moving on to the entertainment news. Dreadlock saga. I feel sorry for the poor boy, says Nana Abba Anamwa. Ghanaian award-winning media personality Nana Abba Anamwa has said she feels sorry for Tyrone Iraz Magay, one of the Dreadlock students rejected by Achimota School due to his hair. Tyrone is among two students who gained admission into the prestigious school, but he has been denied admission by the school authorities due to his dreadlocks. The school has said its rule don't permit dreadlocks, but investigations show it accepts Caucasians with long hair. Reacting to the whole brouhaha regarding the boy's admission, Nana Abba Anamwa has said the Ghana Education Service GES, Achimota School and National Association of Graduate Teachers NAGRAT, whose president recently defended Achimota School's decision, should consider Tyrone's mental health and stop arguing about who is right or wrong. The GH1 TV and Star FM presenter made the statement in a tweet a few days ago. She said they should care about the poor innocent boy because his picture is all over the place. She tweeted, "In all of this, it's the young man that I feel sorry for. Achimota School and Nagrat, etc., appear more concerned about who is right and wrong. Think about the poor innocent boy caught up in all of this." Moving on to other stories, Grammy Awards winner Angelique. The Ghanaian DJ known in private life as Gideon Alogbe is one of the successful disc jockeys in the country with numerous awards under his belt. DJ Sly over the past years has extended his technicals across Africa with UDS Music, a record label he owns, which has seen him venturing into music and featuring acts like Tenny, Skills, Ice Prince, East African's top singer Eddie Kenzo, Cameroon's Daphne, and many more. In a latest move, DJ Sly has connected with the legendary Angelique Kidjo after the Beninese American singer-songwriter who has won 4 Grammys followed him on Instagram. This makes DJ Sly the only Ghanaian music maker the influential is following on the social media app. Among the 216 people she is following with her verified account with over 337k people following her. The link up on social media has sent a signal that the pair could be working on a project that will have the potential to send DJ Sly to Grammys. The disc jockey, whose fame tripled in December 2018 after he historically pulled over 30,000 fans to his first signature DJ concert dubbed the Unstoppable Concert at the West Hills Mall, has not passed any comment yet about his link up with Angelique. Currently, DJ Sly has only been engaged in his latest Strategy song with Fritta's Famille. Strategy is a single of the Persistence album She thought I died. Rick Ross recounts fainting during sex to internet. The rapper was talking about his addiction to lean, a concoction of cough syrup, soda, hard candy, and in some cases, alcohol on the Big Boys Neighborhood show. According to him, the abuse of the substance was what caused him to faint. Rick Ross shared the story whilst he was talking about why he has quit abusing the syrup. Before getting his health in order, Rick Ross suffered seizures that left his loved ones and fans concerned. In 2018, he had a seizure on a flight from Flight Lauderdale to Memphis, causing the pilot to issue an emergency landing. According to Rick Ross, lean caused him to lose some of his facilities that has even seen him defecating on himself while in bed with a woman. The good news for the rapper and his fans is that in the now viral clip from a 2019 interview, Rick, talking about quitting lean, said it was affecting him. The frightened woman, adding that she was panicked because she thought she died in the middle of the act. In other stories, Ghanaian hip-hop musician Nero X has indirectly claimed that Nigeria supports their own. In all aspects, more than Ghanaians after his song Yawade went viral on TikTok. Even though the Afropop song, which was released 3 years ago, was a hit song and had a nationwide rotation, his attributes its new success to Nigerians. He made those statements on Twitter yesterday after his song dominated TikTok trends. Nollywood actress Tonto Dike jumped on a new trend by doing 2 videos with the song. Nero X said Nigerians are always on top of the game in all aspects because their support is extraordinary, adding that God bless you, Nigerian flag of Nigeria. He tweeted, I now know why Nigerians are always on top of their game in all aspects. Their support alone is extraordinary. TikTok is buzzing with my Yawa Day song, and mostly are Nigerian top celebrities trending it. God bless you, Nigeria flag of Nigeria. He later tweeted another video of Tonto Dike and thanked her for supporting her music. Here lies the end of the news for this evening. Stay tuned as I bring you a recap of today's headlines. Project to build capacity of 30,000 share collectors. MTN donates PPEs in the Ashanti region. A top Libyan military wanted by ICC shot dead. She thought I died when I fainted during sex. These and many other stories I brought your way this evening. My name is Abina Ahuni. Stay tuned for more music and entertainment. Have a blessed evening.